Lawyer. Here today we are talking about the diddler. It's a diddler update. The P diddler. P diddly diddler diddler. Oh my god. It sounds so nice to be a diddler, doesn't it? No, it doesn't, because you're in a fucking jail cell and you're diddling yourself now because nobody else will touch you. And it's just so sad that the P diddler is on trial. Okay, that being said, let's give him the benefit of the doubt because you're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And the burden is on the government to prove your guilt or innocence. And not just up to reasonable doubt, beyond it. Beyond the care that you would use in your most important affairs. But before we get to the diddler update, we're going to give you a little hint on where to go if you need legal help. Aside from me. Just kidding. Go to askalawyer.com. So let's say you're trapped in your grandson's basement and you really got to figure out how to get out there, but you have internet access. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to go to askalawyer.com and you tell them what's going on and they'll tell you the next steps. Or they'll say, you're kind of crazy. Your grandson's taking good care of you. He washes your feet every day. He clips your toenails. He makes sure that your hair is coiffed just nicely. Just because you can't get out and it's locked and it's about a 4x8 foot cell, basically, doesn't mean that you're in a... No, I'm kidding. I would never do that to my grandmother. But if you have an issue, if you have any kind of legal issue that you need to get further help on, either I got to go do something here because or, you know, with your landlord, with your neighbor, with somebody that you sold something to, or somebody's going after you for something. What you do is you go to askalawyer.com for $49. Flipping cheap as hell. You can talk to an actual lawyer. And you can decide, what is the next step? What do I need to do here? Or if you're already knee deep into your own legal representation, you can get it, you know, do your own legal research with their AI component, which is trained in all the 50 states and federal laws. So you can get your own stuff done in an AI fashion. I mean, this is the modern age, people. That's why we need AI, or that's why we need askalawyer.com. You know, it's a way for you to get to where you need to go and not spend a ton of money doing it. It's from the same people that you buy your e-forms and e-sign. I use both of those products all the time, and askalawyer.com is a very effective way for you to address any legal concerns that you have and find out the next steps. So go to askalawyer.com.
Alright, so apparently these fucking... What?
Today we're doing a challenge on...
What the heck just happened there?
Today we're doing a challenge on Whatnot where we see how many Lego figures we can buy for $100. So we're gonna...
Okay, so let's kind of go through our witnesses so far in the Diddy case. We have a hotel security guard, Israel Flores. He testified about witnessing Combs assault Ventura. Remember in the video, we saw that. We don't need to play that again. I've seen that too many times. Got Daniel Phillips, who's a male escort. That's your, you know, sex across state lines. Saw Combs throw bottles at Ventura, drag her by the hair, paid up to $6,000 for sexual acts while Combs watched. Who wants to watch somebody fuck their woman? I don't. I mean, that's just... I know some people are into crazy shit, and there's a different flavor for everybody, but honestly, that's just not my deal. Now, we heard from Cassie Ventura. She testified for 4 days. She alleged a decade of abuse, drug-fueled sex parties, and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that they did on cross-examination with Cassie is they showed messages where she said, I'm looking forward to the freak-offs. She's looking forward to, I love you so much. You know, all those kinds of things that kind of tend to disprove the coercion. We also heard from Yasmin Binda. She's a federal agent. She talked about searching of Combs' hotel room. Found $9,000 in cash, which is not that much for a guy like Combs. MDMA, ketamine, lubricant, and baby oil. Don't leave home without it. Fuck. Then we have Dawn Richard. I think she goes by Richard, because if you're, you know, in the A-list, you can't say Richard, you have to say Richard. former member of Danity Kane. She witnessed Combs assault Ventura multiple times, but she never called the police, including 2009 Skillet incident. Sued Combs in 2024, along with everybody else on the fucking planet. And so, is she trying? Does she have a motive to lie? Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. Then we heard from Carrie Morgan, Ventura's former best friend. Saw Combs assault Ventura twice, received $30,000 payment with confidentiality deal. Friendship ended in 2018. Here's the thing. You can't have a confidentiality deal that prevents you from testifying in a criminal court. That's just absolutely 100% not allowed. Then we also heard from David James, Combs' former personal assistant. You know, when you're doing illegal shit in front of somebody, I don't care if you have an NDA, I don't care if they're your personal assistant, you're subject to disclosure. So David James testified about tasks including buying drugs. Buying drugs. Driving during armed confrontations with Suge Knight. One of the things that they have to prove with the RICO is a pattern of RICO activity. And that pattern of RICO activity is established through the sex trafficking, through the drugs, through the violence. And then we also heard from Virginia Ventura, that's Cassie's mother. She took a home equity loan out for $20,000 to prevent Combs from releasing a sex tape. Why would he? And that's the coercion. You know, the sex trafficking, the force, fraud, or coercion. Photos of injuries were also shown. And then now we have a male escort by the name of Sheree Hayes testified, hired 12 times and described erotic scenes, paid $1,200 to $2,000, testified on Ventura's comfort level. Then we had Gerald Gannon, federal agent of Homeland Security. He testified that he recovered an AR-15 parts, loaded handgun, drugs from Combs' Miami Beach home linked to freak-offs. That's a problem for Mr. Combs. We heard from Dawn Hughes, an expert witness psychologist. Remember, she was in the Johnny Depp trial. She explained why victims stay in abusive relationships. That's standard. Whenever I don't like this testimony because an expert witness on women testifying or on behaviors of victims. I remember I was cross-examining one of these experts once, and I asked, well, can you tell me how people who lie about the abuse respond to these situations? She couldn't tell me. Well, you agree that children lie sometimes, don't you? And you agree some people lie. Everybody lies sometimes, right? Yeah. And well, tell me, how does the behavior of somebody who lies about it, how does that impact their behaviors and what they're doing? And they can't answer any of those questions. Then we heard from George Kaplan, that's Combs' former personal assistant. I guess you got to have personal assistants after personal assistants. Testified under immunity because, just like the other guy, he bought drugs. Well, why aren't you being prosecuted? Because I'm a snitch. So he quit after witnessing violence. Described cleaning up hotel rooms for freak-offs. Jesus Christ. That's a great job. Wouldn't that be a great job? Where do you want me to put this condom? It's just, you want to take your brain out and fucking scrub it after you hear some of this stuff. We heard from Kid Cudi, Scott Mescudi, musician and actor. He testified Combs threatened him, suspected Combs broke into his home, firebombed his Porsche, as you see here. Photos of, and then show the charred remains of his Porsche. I don't think he assumed it was him, but didn't know it was him, didn't see him do it. Then we have a makeup artist, Mila Morales. She witnessed the 2010 assaults, saw Ventura with swollen eyes, a busted lip after an incident at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And one of the other things that they have to prove on the RICO side of things is that the overt acts or the pattern of racketeering activity, the overt acts that we're talking about here, they have to be done in furtherance of the organization or in furtherance of the position of the actor within the organization. So I think that just shows the coercive nature of Diddy. I don't think it does anything to prove that he did that busted lip thing and beating her up in conjunction with the RICO. I don't think that helps the RICO case at all. And then we have Frederick Zamore, hotel manager at L'Hermitage, Beverly Hills, because you got to stay at the 5-star, don't you, when you're doing freak offs. Noted Combs' room habits, candle wax, excessive oil. Linked to freak offs per Ventura's testimony. So he kind of corroborates
That's how
Cassie's
billionaire gets down.
testimony. Then we have Joshua Croft, Special Agent of Homeland Security Investigation. He testified about examining electronics, found Frank Black alias on Ventura's laptop. Some of the testimony is kind of dry and boring. They have to go through, how did you get this material? What were the steps taken to extract the data off of it? And all these kind of very technical things. That's called laying foundation for somebody later to testify about what's on the devices. And Capricorn Clark, nice name, you think that's his given name? Maybe, maybe not.
Probably.
Another assistant. See, all these assistants are turning out to be fucking snitches. You know why? Because they're co-conspirators. That's why. Because anybody that's covering up his crimes is aiding an offender after the fact, or an act in furtherance of the conspiracy. Helping Combs cover up violence, helping him set up these freak offs, clean up the freak offs, helping him do anything, getting the drugs. That's all in furtherance of the RICO. And so Mr. Capricorn Clark, testified that details not fully specified in the available updates likely related to assisting Combs. Okay, so Capricorn Clark is this assistant and likely testified about, just the various things that, Combs had him do. And what Combs had him do on a regular basis was this, that, and the other thing. So then we have a few more. We have Deontay Nash, celebrity stylist. She testified about witnessing Combs beat Ventura in causing bleeding as reported on May 28th, 2025. Then we have LAPD officer, law enforcement witness, testified on day 11, likely related to arson investigation. Then we have another person from the LA Fire Department also testified about probably about the Porsche. And then we have Mia, the assistant, delivering harrowing testimony on May 30th, alleging rape, assault, fear of being killed, and details. And I think she's still on the stand, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of a rundown of the list of witnesses that have testified so far. So then we have, even Trump weighing in. Let's just, I'm not a, you guys know I'm not a fan of Trump. All right, I'm just not, and I'm not going to pretend to be, and I'm not apologetic for. But guess what? Even if you are a Trumpster diver, you're an American, right? And so if we were in a foxhole together, I wouldn't sit there and look at you and say, I'm not going to save your ass. You're a Trumpster diver. No, I mean, we're still Americans first, aren't we? Anyway, but I do think this is interesting. Let's see what he has to, because didn't he just pardon NBA YoungBoy? I mean, fuck, how sweet is that if you're NBA YoungBoy?
Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics...
Oh, we all like you. We all like you. Oh, you're huge. You're the best president I've ever been. You're the most fittest president that's ever been. Blah, 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 blah. I think it would be a mistake to pardon Diddy, honestly. I mean, he certainly has the right to do it. And if he did it, I mean, Diddy is in federal court, so he absolutely has the right to do it, and he's been wielding that pardon power like crazy. And didn't he just pardon that couple that had like tax problems and whatever, and and they owed a shit ton of money in restitution, and so guess what? They don't have to pay that. But I mean, have you seen that guy? Tell me that guy isn't just. I mean, he's had more plastic surgery than Joan Rivers. I mean, I just, ugh, he just rubs me the wrong way.
He sort of that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing.
Anyway, that's enough of that. So if you think Trump is going to pardon Diddy, you think twice. Let's see what this clip is. And I'm not. I haven't seen any of this stuff, so I'm reacting to this kind of cold.
If this man is elected, we're not standing by no more getting killed. We're not scared of anybody standing up and standing by. We're on the verge of a race war. White men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking.
I guarantee you, Trump didn't see this.
It's real dangerous. Mm-hmm. When you look at it, we don't have no choice. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can say what you want about Biden. I can't say I love the pick either, but hey, we got to get him in office, mm-hmm. and then we got to hold him accountable.
Okay, well, there's that. Now remember in the Young Thug case that Brian Steele was the main lawyer there in that case. I mean, there are other lawyers that were involved, but he did a masterful job. He really did, and now he's one of the main lawyers in the Diddy case. So here's how Brian Steele began cross-examination today, or on I think it was Friday, of Mia in the Diddy Gomes trial. He went through her worst claims from direct examination. He said, "God forbid," early on, and then introduces as evidence the social media posts to try to refute them. So here we have some of the transcript. So because of the Diddy Combs, you suffered a great deal. Yes. You know, here's the thing. When you cross-examining a victim in a case, you really have to be careful. Because if you can show that they're a liar, you know, you can go after them kind of hard. But if you go after them really hard, you can look like an abuser yourself. Because if they're super sympathetic. Because of the Sean Combs, you suffer a great deal. Yes. And you worked with him from 2009 till 2017. Is that correct? Yes. And in the 8 years, that's where you've developed this trauma. True? True. And even as early as recent as February of this year, just seeing the Sean Combs calling your number made you throw the phone as far as you could, right? Yes. Made you run out of your own home. True? This is all stuff that she testified to on direct. And here, this is a technique where you get them to commit hardcore to what they testified on direct, and then you slam them afterwards because I guarantee you that's coming. Because that's the trauma that you carried since meeting, working with Sean Combs, correct? Right. And he made you, you told the jury in front of this honorable court, do things that are unthinkable. Is that fair to say? Yes. And that includes sleeping in a room without a lock, right? Yes. Coming into that room and violating you in the most unthinkable manner. True? True. Diminishing you down as you have no confidence, right? See, this is all just making her commit, saying yes or no answers. To the point that today, if someone even just calls out the name Mia, you panic, right? Right. I'd like to make sure that this is correct. You said that Sean Combs' conduct was the worst thing that ever happened to you. Yes. I couldn't hear you. Yes. I mean, he probably heard her, but he just wanted her to say it again. At times, you wanted to, God forbid, kill yourself, right? Yes. What he's not doing here is letting her expand on her answer, okay? He's controlling the witness with yes or no questions. I want to ask you to do me a courtesy. There should be a notebook within your arm's distance. with this honorable court's permission, if you can take a look, just you yourself and the parties, not anyone else, okay? And just take a look. They are numbered. You will see exhibits. If you don't mind, if you would look at the tab 1 through 10 and go in order, it's going to be the same question. With the court's permission, I am going to ask you the question now. And then you look at it and just tell me whether this is an exhibit that you recognize, it's accurate, and that to the best of your memory, that it's true. Your Honor, is that okay? See, I mean, so he's not really going after her yet. So basically, he's going through a notebook with her with exhibits. And the exhibits, I guarantee you, are going to be, you said this on this date, right? And you did this on this date. And you did this and on this date. And you never called the police. And you told Mr. Diddy that you wanted to do all these different things. It's going to be basically her agreeing to everything he's going to say. And he's going to have that backed up through exhibits. So one of the things on direct examination they start talking about is Miss Clark looking for opportunities, and she was told to go to Interscope Records and go see this Jamie Iovine. And she said she went there to talk about job opportunities, but when she got there, um, they were there to tell me to leave Puff alone and that this wasn't going to end well for me. Then Niflo gets up and he objects to all this, Judge. And this is for the sake of mind of the witness, Your Honor. The question was, who is that? The objection is sustained. The jury should disregard everything except for the first sentence of the witness's answer. In other words, it was hearsay, you know? And although one could argue it was a statement of a co-conspirator, because statements of co-conspirators are admissible evidence. So, did you have a meeting with Jamie Iovine? I did. What was the outcome of that meeting? The outcome of that meeting, well, no job, but it was a warning. What was the warning? Objection, because it's hearsay. He told me, objection, Judge. Hold on. Ms. Clark, did you continue to seek employment through CAA? I did. CAA is a talent agency. And what happened when you sought employment with CAA? Mr. Combs and Andrew Harrell followed me around CAA. Who is Mr. Harrell? Andre Harrell was a music industry executive and, like everybody's godfather, pretty groovy guy. Ran Uptown Records and back in the day, and was a confidant, like a father to Puff. Is it your testimony that Mr. Combs showed up when you were looking for employment? Yes. This goes to that whole overarching control that Diddy had on people. And in this ongoing saga here, Capricorn Clark, remember, he testified that he detailed the operations, possibly involving like arranging hotel rooms, freak-offs, drugs, and the prosecution case supported by testimony of former employees, law enforcement, and experts aims to substantiate the claims of Combs.
Just pick a better country and do some research online to find the best ones. But I'm gatekeeping my picks, so don't ask me. In Supremacy 1914, you can simulate World War I in real time against real players. Download
Combs criminal enterprise. Enterprise is huge because they have to establish an enterprise. There's no question there's an enterprise here. I mean, there's people coming together for a common purpose, and that's really all you have to prove that there's an enterprise. It's a little more complicated than that, but you really don't. And then Capricorn Clark also testified about about Diddy's just absolute jealousy of Kid Cudi. So what Capricorn Clark said, the visit to Cudi's home in Los Angeles in the Laurel Canyon area ended with Cudi losing Combs in a car chase, and Combs ordering Clark to call his now former girlfriend Cassie Ventura from a Sunset Boulevard nightclub. Once you get Cassie, you guys need to go talk with Cudi and convince him not to tell the police that it was me. Clark testified at the Manhattan federal courtroom Tuesday morning. So he says, if you guys don't convince him of that, I'll kill you motherfuckers. I mean, you've got him just like crazy. So Clark said she picked up Ventura from Sunset Marquis Hotel, and they went to Cuddy's home to make sure that he wasn't going to make a police report about Puff. But when they saw Combs later in his home on Beverly Crest, he immediately began kicking Cassie, 100% full force. Each kick, she would crouch into more and more fetal position, and she said Ventura wasn't doing anything. She was crying silently. You know, here's the problem that you have. Abuse can take many forms, obviously, right? And when you have somebody like Puff Daddy, Pete Diddler, exerting so much control, you're afraid to express displeasure. You're afraid to not say that I'm looking forward to this because you're going to get a beating otherwise. That's the problem that I think the jury is going to have with saying that you loved it. No one's going to believe that. I mean, honestly. And the reason I'm reading some of this testimony to you is because this is a long process, and the government can't just get through this with just a witness here or there because everybody's got their agenda, right? Everybody wants to sue Diddy for shit that he did or didn't do. Everybody wants to get on the bandwagon and further their career. But if all of a sudden they're seen as a disgruntled employee and have an agenda, they need to be corroborated. And that's why they're doing all the things that they're doing with the videos, with the other people that don't have an agenda, like the hotel people and the assistants. And so we'll continue to follow this, but the overarching theme is drugs, control, violence, and unwanted sex, or forced violent sex. I mean, he would keep people locked up for days until their injuries healed, and then let them go. That's the allegation, at least. And I know he's innocent until proven guilty. Free Puff Diddler. Fuck that. He's a big boy, I'm sure he's not well liked where he's situated because he's used to getting everything his way, right? And it's humbling being in jail. I mean, I've never been in jail, but I can only imagine, being the captain of industry, or captain of the music industry, and you have all kinds of other things that you got going on. You have got your endorsements, you got liquor, you've got clothes, you've got music, you've got everything. You're a billionaire, but you can't keep your oily dick in your pants. It isn't hard, but well, that aside, it isn't hard to stay out of jail. But when people have a predilection, when people are, freaks and have to have their freak off, I mean, he gets off on the control. He's the puppet master, right? And when people don't, like, I love listening to 50 Cent talk about Diddy because he didn't fall for any of his bullshit. You see that one clip where he starts talking about him taking him shopping. He's like, that's what you do with your fucking girlfriend. If another man wanted to take me fucking shopping, do you think I'd go shopping with another man? I mean, unless I was dating him, I guess. I'm not gay, but, if you're gay and, your boyfriend wants to take you shopping, great. But I'm not going shopping with a fucking another man. I'm just not going to do it. Anyway, so we'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer Reacts. That's just been our quick update on the Diddy trial. Kind of went through a little bit of the witnesses and a little bit of flavor of what they're testifying to. It ain't over yet. The witness list is long. The exhibit list is really long. And it's really thousands and thousands and thousands of pages and videos. And we're just barely getting started. He's lucky that he's got Brian Steele. Finally, somebody that I think is a good, thorough, through and through criminal defense lawyer. Street smart, and saw the work that he did on the Thug case. It doesn't back down. He's tough as nails. So he's got a good defense lawyer. And I don't really know Agnifilo. He is who he is.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, some of the trial statements he made I thought were ill-advised. Anyway, we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Sign up for Patreon. Go to Facebook. We're building a platform over there too. And if some of our content over on Patreon is going to be stuff you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. And make sure you go to clrbrucerivers.com for all your merch needs. We'll see you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, police is at my goal.
Ooh, you playing Marvel Strike Force?
You know it.
All right, best villain in the game. Go.
Oh, maybe Magneto? He manipulates and blinds his opponents so all their attacks just miss.
What? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23-1. Today, we'll be witnessing a man by the name of Jacob Kayer take the stand for killing 2 individuals. Prosecutors can be asking questions about what happened, and his answers are pretty damn out there. But one last thing for our press play, I want you to pay close attention to what this guy's saying, because it's going to play a major role in his sentencing. All right. Back to the courtroom we go. Look at the drapes in this puppy.
Courtroom analysis.
Very, very well finished wood, I must say. My front door doesn't even have a peephole.
Please be seated.
That's the Diddy over here.
The jury has returned to the courtroom. We're ready to begin the afternoon session. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Kerr, I remind you remain under oath. And then I think, thank you. Go ahead.
Look at the windshield on this guy. Jeez.
Mr. Kerr, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to address you today as Mr. Kerr, Jake, or Jacob? How would you like me to talk to you?
Jake, perfect.
Jake? Okay.
Well, how be? I guess they are getting used to them old PlayStation cameras. But let me give you a little backdrop on the individual on the stand right now. The story goes that this man got mad at his dad, got himself a book bag full of zip ties, knives, gloves, and duct tape, and went down the street on his bike to someone's house and killed 2 people. Almost killed a third, but he survived.
Disturbing details just released in the investigation of Tuesday night's double homicide. We now know the victims are 25-year-old Sabrina Teague, 63-year-old Heesun Teague, both of Hobart. Another person stabbed at the scene, Joel Kennedy. He's in the hospital but is expected to survive.
At 8:12, officers responding to this home along Riverdale Drive for a weapons report, finding Sabrina Teague already dead outside. Inside the home, police say they found Joel Kennedy alive with stab wounds to his chest and arms. Inside the bathroom, Heesun Teague's lifeless body also discovered with multiple stab wounds. Police say they recovered a knife on scene and found Jacob Kayer hiding in the woods near the home, tracked down by a canine unit.
Jacob had an opportunity to review it and got through as much as he was able to.
So, Jake, everything happened on June 7, 2016, and here we are in August of 2020, correct?
Correct.
How old are you now today?
30.
When this happened, you were 26. Sound right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So I think you said when you testified earlier that a lot of times passed by, years, months, days. Is that right?
Unfortunately.
And you waiting for this day and looking forward to this day, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jake, do you think there's certain times that are really important in your life?
Is that like a broad question as a human being thing or me
you think
specifically?
today is an important day?
Yeah, I think it's a turning point for Wisconsin when I finally reveal everything that you guys are committing mass racketeering, and I have evidence of a lot of that too.
Okay. Ooh. It's an important day, isn't
Fired
it? Because
back.
you want to make sure that you say whatever you think's important to this jury. Isn't that why it's important today?
Yeah, but you're concealing a lot of what's going on.
I don't know where the prosecutor's going with this. These questions are kind of strange. I think it's prosecutor if I were to guess. Are days important to you? What the hell does that even mean?
Jake, do you think there's certain times that are really important in your life?
Is that like a broad question as a human being thing or me
you think today is an important day?
Yeah, I think it's a turning point for Wisconsin when I finally reveal everything that you guys are committing mass racketeering, and I have evidence of a lot of that too.
Okay. It's an important day, isn't it? Because you want to make sure that you say whatever you think's important to this jury. Isn't that why it's important today?
Yeah, but you're concealing a lot of what's going on, and I'm not being allowed to speak about it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So this is your one chance today. You know that, right?
No. Because once we're done, I'm going to go through everything with 2020 other than an autopsy.
Okay.
We'll give up online when I go home.
All right.
That's what you want.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand this. Why,
I don't either.
I don't know if you have nicknames or something. Why did I see things where you referred to as Jake Sambora? Sambora. What does that mean?
That is the URL to my Facebook, Jake Diplomatech, Sambora. But when I was making the Facebook, I was talking to someone about music, and they're like, well, you like guitars, and Sambora is a famous guitar person, so that's where it chose that name. I've never referenced as that anywhere else in my life.
That's why I just want to make sure what that was. Jake Sambora is...
It's just a URL to the Facebook.
So I listened to what you had to say earlier, and you indicated that you didn't kill Hisan T, you didn't kill Sabrina T, and that you did not stab Joel Kennedy. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And that is your story that you want to tell today. Is that right?
More than that, but you guys are trying to not allow it in.
Okay.
Okay.
She has the same enemies as me, and they have a history of attacking her.
Okay.
All right.
As well as
All
attacking
right.
me.
We'll just keep going.
But basically, you didn't do it, right?
I did not. I did not.
I want to go back
Watch the mic, sir.
Tuesday, June 7th, 2016.
No need to cover your
you
mouth.
think for some reason
got
you
3
left your parents'
shields.
house on Monday, June 6th, 2016? Is that right?
Did leave my parents' house the day before.
Okay. What time do you think you left your parents?
We usually have dinner between 4 and 6, usually more around 6, so we've been around that area.
About 6
Supper
o'clock at
time,
night?
Bobby.
That should be roughly around it, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll went through total time lapse, maybe 6:30, because it's going halfway through dinner. So
And so you think you left Monday, so then basically there's about over 24 hours, 27 hours that's missing. Is that right?
yeah, at one point, my first attorneys, I asked them to see if they could get any video cams from street lamps to prove if my sister knew where I am and where I'm not.
Right.
But they just lied to me the whole way and said, okay, we got this, we did this, we found out who's threatening her, all this, and did nothing.
So, what, we'll go with your version. You at least remember having dinner with your parents, and there was an argument, you got mad at your dad, Alan, is that right?
Yeah.
And then, what is your mom's name?
I'd rather keep them out of this public thing.
Oh.
What's her name?
Sorry.
I'm not going to keep them out of it.
My mom's name is Joan.
That's fine. And you said earlier, you love your mom, is that right? Or you care a lot about her?
Yeah.
Okay. And you had a good relationship with your mom, but with your dad, it's a little different?
It's still a lot of them, and if he was in trouble, I'd help him and whatnot.
Sure.
Just, I don't like how he has his viewpoints, but he's supported us and done everything he can, more than most fathers ever would, so.
He's more rigid thinking because of the military, and you said you're more of a free spirit type of person.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe your dad just doesn't understand you.
Aren't we all?
True?
I don't know if it's not understanding because he's not dumb, but it's just you're not allowed to have an opinion towards anything out of a certain spectrum.
And that really made you mad that you don't want to have to see your mom cry, is that right?
I wouldn't say it made me mad. I think it's what, like I said, I was running on low fumes, energy, low everything. I think that's what just kind of dropped me, where the trauma just starts. My mind is no longer having recollection of stuff. Like I don't remember even biking.
But
so it's not mad. It's just like physically I'm still moving.
I thought you felt, when you saw your mom, you felt provoked.
No.
And that your world was crumbling in your life then.
It's sad, it's disappointment, it's annoyed, it's irritated, it's a whole mix of everything other than happy. But it's not a provoked thing. This is really shitty. I can't say any 2 cents to stop the argument. My dad wants to perceive my life as whatever because I'm trying to stop Dylan from hurting Wendy, but he views it as whatever.
What did you mean when you said that night after you left your parents' house, you couldn't keep the key in the cage any longer?
I'm a very poetic person, and a very deep thinker and stuff, so like you see throughout everything, when they get the chance to view all that last piece of evidence, that I'm assuming that, okay, maybe it's like a dragon box, pop. Assuming that when it's not me. Because I'm being an honest person, like this is me freaking out and going somewhere, which makes no sense because I'm going somewhere else completely, other than this. So, there's a lot built underneath. Grandma just died.
Okay.
Dad's kicked me out of the family because I'm trying to fucking expose this corrupt or whatever, this little person, not Joel, not Sabrina, nothing. I haven't been able to see my sister. My sister's not doing good. There's the person I love, Wendy, is today she barely has any teeth now. She has a track marks everywhere. She's being an independent person. Like my life is falling to pieces and I can't do anything about it.
Damn, he put Cindy, was that her name? Cindy on damn Front Street. Got tracks and all kinds of stuff now. Poor Cindy.
You say that you're making an example of a jack-in-the-box popping up. Is that what you're meaning when you...
That's an assumption to, what I wake up in, like...
Okay. Is that what you mean when you are having all this anger build up and it just explodes that night? Is that what you're talking about?
Also assumption to be that.
Ain't no way I'd be able to wear that shield 24/7 like this.
That's what you mean.
That's what I'm referencing, yes.
Okay.
Not saying referencing, that's factual, what happened. I'm just referencing is what's going on. Is that what's going on?
Well, you talk about when you're at the hospital, there's this kind of a battle going inside you. Are you talking about a battle between good and evil inside yourself or something like that?
No, just, I guess a good example would be like, here's a puppy, it's a nice little puppy, you kick it in the face, you kick it in the face, you kick it in the face, eventually it's going to bite that foot. So it's not a battle with myself, it's a battle with containment, I guess you would call it. And not having jack shit of visualness, and that's really scary because I have a really good memory as it is. Like me, what is that type of thing? So like I said, the mix of poetic feelings.
Is that because you think a lot of the women in your life did things to you that made you angry?
I could care less about that. I've always moved on. Jess cheats on me? All right, here's your other stuff. Here's a car I bought. Go ahead. Go ahead, wash your stuff over. All right, go. Okay. I don't leave an exception over stuff.
Well, he got aggressive when he asked about his ladies leaving him. He said he don't care. He sends them janks off with the Klondike bar. Only the players know about the Klondikes.
That's what I don't understand, Jake, is it, he said, something happens, you go on.
Yeah.
Like from Nicole.
I did go on from Nicole. Me and Nicole split back in 2013 fall.
Right.
I lost my place. I got another job. I got a place in Seymour. I was with Wendy. We were going with Wendy. How's that not moving on?
Well, one of the first things you were talking about in the hospital early on is you're worried maybe you hurt Nicole's family. So
yeah, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Who do I have enough animosity that would even cause something like that?
Right.
That's not there though. That's not that much animosity. I'm like, is it this? Because I don't have any hate for anyone like that other than Dylan.
What about Wendy?
Dylan.
Did you go on to her?
If you have a recording in my hard drive where I vocally say to her, drunk, so straight from the heart, it's not me wanting to be with you as much as I like that, but you need to find someone better because this piece of shit is going to put you on drugs. So is that saying, go ahead and find someone? Drunk, straight from the heart is not caring for someone? I don't know what is. Because there's people that...
I'm sorry, you keep going,
Sorry. It was one last thing.
Yeah.
As human beings, a lot of us who have dreams, it's the ones that you can't control with your consciousness, or conscious awareness, you can't control with your awareness. It's been studies on that. Usually it's some type of event to occur that's not unnormal for us to know that. When I was incarcerated, before I got out, I had one of her dying, Wendy, and I was scared to death that was going to happen because her family's not that good to her. But I didn't know it was spiritual death. And so that's why it wasn't move on. Oh, you can go die someone, I can't go die someone. It was, I don't want to know this person dying later because of some that wants to put her on drugs because she has a kid with him and you don't want to pay up.
It doesn't sound like you moved on.
You're making it appear that way. Like I said, there's a recording you guys have in my hard drive. You know, play it because it proves opposite of what you're saying.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of y'all are probably lost and wondering where the fuck am I going with this? Where the fuck is Mr. K going with this? Like I said in the beginning, I want you to pay close attention to his words because even though he stabbed 2 people to death, he's not going to be going to prison for it. They determined that this man is crazy. Now, once they determined that, they had to figure out if they think he was crazy during the time that he committed the crimes. And they did. A jury took nearly 3 hours of deliberating, but they agreed. He was all the way around crazy. Now, you know, in the courtroom, a lot of people will fake crazy to try not to get the death penalty or something like that. Well, go ahead and compare those to this guy's, and you'll see the differences. Even though both of them might be sounding really ludicrous, you could just tell by the body motions and the way that he speaks. It's very fluent and consistent because that's his natural self. Crazy. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned a few things. If you did, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. Go check out the links in the description of the video. Add me up on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning. And everybody who's just now joining the lockdown compound. Y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.
Alright, that's it for me too, brother. Later, round 2.